Hello, and welcome to the Australian Business Podcast. My name is Zara McGuffey, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Inflection. Together with Jordan and Daniel, co-founders of Grayspace, and Owen, the founder of Rask, we bring you 2 episodes every week to scale your business. More profit, less effort. Get ready for the best marketing strategies, tax tips you can take to the bank, interviews with startups, scale-ups, ma and pa businesses, and domain experts. If you like the show, you can work with me and the Inflection team to scale your marketing and automation, join our business accelerator, take an online course in business or marketing, and simply say hello in our free online community. You'll find everything you need in the show notes. I hope you enjoy today's show.
Welcome back to the Australian Business Podcast. Today, I'm joined by my friend, my co-founder, my saviour.
Hello, Jordan.
Dan, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. I had to take the dust off the mic over here.
Are you nervous?
No.
Okay.
Those nerves are gone now.
It's just second nature now. So having a bit of a coffee catch up today. What's been going on in the world of Dan?
Mate, lots. Balancing business, family, kids, the winter flu season. It's fun times. I know a lot of, business owners that are parents probably juggle this period of time the best they can, I guess. Probably no method to the madness. It's
tea. Aren't you drinking? You had a tea this morning.
I've still got
your
the
glands.
tea.
What did you say? Your glands were sore.
Yeah, everyone's just sort of picking up little things here and there. Eldest got conjunctivitis.
Nice.
Youngest got a little cough, a chest clogged up, just little things.
So, I know you're copping it.
Yeah, I've had this system of like...
Man flu?
Manifest that you can't get sick so you won't get sick. And it's worked up until now.
It's starting.
It's starting. I can feel it.
Yeah, good stuff.
What about yourself?
Not much besides work, to be honest. I was away for a while, which is the first trip that I had since we've started the business.
Where'd you go?
Went to Greece, which was good fun. Very sunny. Now I've come back to rainy Sydney. But it was good. It was good. I think back and, I'd wake up every morning and I'd still do my emails just because otherwise I wouldn't enjoy the day, to be honest. Just sort of clear the inbox. And it was only for, some days were 10 minutes, some days were half an hour. But it was just interesting because when we first started, I remember I went away to Thailand for like a week. And me and you were talking every single day still. And it was just me and you. I don't think we had any staff. We may have had one overseas member, staff member. Whereas now it's like, we've got that management structure in place. It's somewhat working. There's always hiccups, but it's just interesting how like the business has developed. And it's something that we're working on at the moment. I think it'd be good to talk about. So like scaling the business and more so like a professional service or any service-based business. It's just, we're going through the growing pains at the moment where, the work's coming in and that's not the pain point anymore. It's like getting the work done and making sure everyone's happy. So scaling's hard.
Yeah, it's funny. I know you were really nervous before you went about how that was going to go, how stepping away looked like, etc. And you're spot on. The business is now at a point where in the first, call it period of time, 6 months for some businesses, 2 years for other businesses. I guess it's different for everyone. But the start is always getting the work. It's getting lead flow. It's creating work. It's having something steady, ongoing, that's constantly working and, I guess, increasing the value of your business. But then it comes to a point where you actually nail that.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the work continues to come in, but your operation systems, your people, your processes, I guess, not up to scratch, call it, at that volume.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like one of those things that we thought, like we were so proud and adamant that we had the best system and process. It was foolproof until volume hit it.
Yeah. And
then volume had broke the system to the point where now we've got to completely reevaluate. We're building off it, adjusting it.
It's interesting. And you're spot on. I remember we did a podcast, it was probably a couple of years ago now at Owen's office in Melbourne, and we're talking about that. I remember it so vividly. It was you saying, our systems are really good, and you want to have really good systems because it can help with that struggle to get staff. And now we're at the point where it's like, well, no, like it's been such a big learning experience where we thought, our systems are good, and they are, and they were, but that was just me and you, and maybe 1 or 2 overseas team members and a senior here in Australia. And it was humming and it was fine. Whereas now it's like 4 times or more. The staff we're almost at 20 or 21. And it's interesting, man, because it's just such a rethink on what you thought. And I think that's just how business is. You're constantly changing and adapting and moving forward.
Yeah, and I think the one thing you don't factor in, especially with like the process and operations component, is the margin for error.
Yeah.
Whereas an error with a small team and a small workflow, it's super easy fix. So we would have little things that sort of occur, but it was so minor, you'd quickly fix it, took 2 seconds, and everything's
on to
fine.
the next.
But now when you've got thousands more units, heaps of more staff members who are also learning as well, because you're never getting like the perfect staff member straight away. You're getting...
There's that learning phase.
There's always yeah. And especially from like, we'll use like the, let's say, experienced senior accountants, where their tax knowledge, their accounting skills, they're fine.
Yeah.
That's not the issue. The issue is coming from business to business and following different sets of steps, different sets of processes.
Yes.
Expectations are different. The way you sort of look at the job, interact with the job, at what point does the client get involved? When do you send out queries? What notes do you need to put down to the system? That changes from business to business, like anything else.
Yep.
Yes, it's still accounting, but the point to getting the finished product does change.
Yep.
And adapting into someone else's, I guess, system has pain points.
Yeah, 100%. I was speaking to a podcast listener and a client, Brandon. I won't name his business, but if he's listening, shout out to Brandon. And he's doing fantastic. And it's the same thing. It always comes back to, and he's great at what he does, and he's scaling his business. And it's the same pain points. It's that operational side of things that you struggle with. It's that people management. And for us, we never really considered it at the start. It's like, oh, we'll just get people and, throw bodies at seats and it'll be, well, lack of a better term, but it'll work itself out. But it's just not the case. We're now investing time and money into an actual management system where we've always had our meeting cadences, but for me and you more so, whereas now it's like, okay, well, how do these meeting cadences tie into the team and our staff members, and what do they need to do to prepare for these meetings? What are the KPIs and the expectations? And just from my experience in the last year or so, that's just been the biggest pain point. And I think it's so important not to just bury your head in the sand, but go, okay, cool, identify this is the issue. We're struggling to get staff for whatever reason, labor shortage, or everyone hates accounting in our case. No one wants to be an accountant. But what can you do in your power to fix that problem?
Yeah, spot on. And I think we almost had a bit of an old school mentality towards it, where we sort of look at the issues and we would only think about how we would tackle them, because that's all we know, I guess. And we obviously come from, fairly old school sort of upbringings with our families. And for us, if there's a problem, you just fix it. It doesn't matter how long it takes, what it takes. Too much work, no worries. You do a bit of overtime, just sort it out. That's always been our mentality. We've grown Grey Space with that mentality. Just get it done. Doesn't matter what you need to do, just get it done. But that same expectation can't go to employees.
Yeah, it's true.
We didn't have resource planning. It was just you and I. It was work comes in sick. Guess what you're doing till midnight tonight? You're getting the job done. And you have to when you're building that business. But it gets to a point where you can't have that same expectation of your people. It's just not fair. They've got their families. They're only getting paid for their 40 hours that they're coming in to do. It's just not right.
Yeah, I agree.
That level of thinking. And I think that's where a bit of our operations broke down, because as the work was coming in, we're like, man, just get it done. It's fine. Just do it. To the point where I think we sort of had to sit back and be like, hey, we can't expect them to do the hours that we did when we first started and fix the problems that we fixed. It comes back to resource planning, which is what we're working through now, is understanding the workload.
Talk through a bit more of that.
Yeah, so we sat down with, I think Paul, we did a podcast with us, operations specialist. Big props. The work we've done together so far has been fantastic. So what we're doing now is essentially building out a resource plan where we've got estimates per jobs, how long each job should take on an hourly basis, factoring in, I guess, available work hours for our staff to then understand, well, where's the overflow? Where's the underflow? Have we got the right people? Have we got the right, I guess, resources to get the jobs done efficiently? Is there enough time resource? And I think recently we found out that the manager that works on my team had about 100 hours of dedicated work for the week, even though he's only got 40 hours to get it done in, and sort of, brings us back to, I guess, reasonably tracking these people.
Yeah.
From initial glance, he's just not getting it done. There's always oversight. There's not oversight, but there's always overflow with work. The work task can't keep getting done. And it just came back to us being the issue from the sense of, well, we just gave him too much. We set this guy up to fail.
Yeah, so true. And like everything you said there is spot on, and it applies to every business. Those exercises can be done in any business. I know we're talking about ours, but again, service-based business, any service-based business would have the same issues when they're trying to scale. So if you can, the earlier you can identify it, the better. I think maybe we left it maybe 4 or 5 months too late. Not too late, but if we identified it earlier on.
I feel like
but it goes back to what you were saying. It's like that way of thinking where it's like, we'll do it. We'll do it. Yep, done. And then we're talking at Slack, on Slack at 11 o'clock at night together.
Yeah.
But like, you can't have that mentality.
No.
You need to invest in it.
Like me and you, we've got no issue jumping on after hours. You know, we do our things, whether it's admin, whether it's a bit of research, whether it's, strategic stuff, identifying problems throughout the day and then just having a brainstorm at night. Being like, I saw this. I'm not happy with this.
Yep.
This can't happen again. What can we do to fix it?
Yep.
Like for us, I don't know. I don't consider that work.
Yeah, no.
Like I just...
Is it weird? We enjoy it?
I don't know. That's what I like to do with the TV on in the background.
Yep.
Just got my laptop on the lounge.
Away.
Kids are in bed. Like things are great. Like no issues with that side of things.
What's on the TV?
At the moment, it's UK Love Island.
Anyway, keep going.
Yeah.
We'll erase that.
Yeah.
How do you watch that?
Honestly, it started with I'm just behind my laptop. The missus watches it. I'm just in there on the laptop. Now I know every single person's backstory. I know where they came from, who they are. I know all the tea.
My missus watches it too, and every time I just shake my head.
Yeah, that's how I started.
Yeah, and I'm like, how do you watch this? And now he just,
I'm sitting here.
I'm still like that because anyway. I'm just going to stop talking before I say something wrong.
Saying, we're going to put it on tonight or what? Like, what's happening? What are you doing?
Oh, that's gold. But yeah, you're spot on. It's about doing those things later at night. And again, at the start, it's cool. Yeah, all right, I've got to plug away and do an extra 2 basses, again, doing the actual work. Whereas now, it's just not possible. Like we look at our work items from just a bass perspective, and there's like 800. We can't just do it.
Well, we went from 50 basses when it was just us to like you said, 800 basses coming through every single quarter. 4 quarters. That's a lot of work items.
Yeah,
and that's just businesses.
Yep.
So there's, from a volume perspective, we can't just wing it anymore.
No. Yeah, it's so true. And the earlier you can identify this, especially as a service-based business, just the easier it would be. If you need to. What Daniel said before was spot on. It's just a different way of thinking. Like we're sitting in that meeting with Paul and how his mind was thinking about, how to overcome this problem. We never really thought about it like that. It's just, again, having someone that's got no emotional involvement, being able to come in and say, all right, well, this is what it's at. How long does a job take? We asked all the staff members. Everyone was opposite. Me and you said essentially it should take 10 minutes and they're saying 10 hours.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was half the time that all the staff said.
Yeah.
We're like, no, it should take, 10 hours to get this start to finish. And the average was like 34 hours.
Yeah.
We're like, what?
Yeah. But it's like, that's, you multiply that out by 20 people. The difference is huge.
Yeah. Well, we found we were under-resourced by what was like 3,000 hours.
Yeah.
It was great.
yeah. It's just growing pains.
Yeah.
Look, and it's good. It is just growing pains, but it's yes, it's good. There's heaps of work, but you need to identify it, because what happens when you have too much work and you don't have the systems in place, service delivery drops off.
Yeah.
So that's why we're like, well, we're growing too quick. We need to make sure our service keeps up, and we're trying to hire people to maintain that service. But it's hard. It's hard. It's, yes, we're accountants, but we're like any other business owner as well with these growing pains.
Well, no one teaches you this, right? So there's no, handbook in the accounting, course of how to run a business, operational metrics, how to track it, any of that. So I think getting someone like Paul with a different skill set to us, right? So we've always been able to track things from a financial perspective. Yeah. We know our margins. But, the more sort of you get involved with business and businesses, you sort of see that the financials aren't they're not your toolkit. They're your answer, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what tells you the result of the work that happens internally. So if your operations is off, your efficiencies are off, you'll know that with your financials.
Yeah,
but
correct.
the financials won't tell you how to fix it.
Yeah.
You need to get a different mindset, a different person, a different skill set, or a bit of reading yourself, whatever it may be. We're big fans of, I guess, outsourcing to things that you're not perfect at. And we're not going to be perfect at it. We don't need to be either, to be fair.
So true.
A lot of the best businesses and business owners, they're run because they've got the right people around them, not because they became the best at every single aspect of the business.
Yeah, you just don't have the time as a business owner, and that's why you need to be okay with leaning on people. You need to be okay to look. I remember the first time we ever spent money on, I think it was in like the first maybe 2 or 3 months, we spent money on a what would you even call those ladies?
Oh, like sales coaches.
Yeah, and we're like, oh yeah, we need some help with that. So we invested, I think it was like $3,500 at the time, and that was a big chunk of the bank balance.
Oh yeah,
and we got nothing out of it. But again, it was a learning experience, right? And
well, I think that taught us that we're kind of doing the right things already. We almost didn't have the validation, because we hadn't experienced it before. Because everything they turned around with were like, we already know all this.
Yeah, it's true. And the reason I say that story, it's to highlight that like we were wrong, but it didn't deter us from going again and leaning on professionals again. You have to be okay.
We've got wrong like 4 or 5 times since we've started, to be honest. We had one guy come in, he was automations expert, was going to do this.
Yeah.
We spent I don't know how much money with him, and I can't even name one change that happened.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even tell us either.
Yeah. It's so true. And now we've come across Paul, and there's other professionals that we lean on, and it's like, yeah, cool. But we've always been comfortable with that. And I think you need to be comfortable with being wrong. And look, no one wants to lose money. And I'm not saying be comfortable with that, but obviously do your homework and do your research, make sure they know what they're doing. But you just have to be okay with being wrong sometimes and being able to make that quick decision to pivot out of it.
Well, you got to treat it like an investment, right? When you do your DD behind it, you sort of understand the back systems, how it works, the expectations, the outcomes, how it's going to work. Like do your DD behind the decision, but also know that investments go wrong all the time.
Yeah, correct.
And as long as this investment is built into your budget, whether it's, you've got some type of understanding of how your capital is going to be spent, understanding of how you're going to reinvest profits, etc. Well, then if you lose some, you lose some. It is what it is. Yeah, it's part of business.
Yeah, it is. It is. And that's what, in my opinion, that's what separates the average ones to those ones that do become great. It's being able to take those risks, being okay with being wrong, and then moving on.
Yeah, and then just learning from those mistakes, and hopefully you make less and less and less the further you continue in your business.
Yeah, it's so true.
Like I'd love for there to be the perfect blueprint or handbook to run businesses, but we've seen thousands of them now. And everyone does it different. Yeah, like there's no one set of rules that everyone can follow and everyone's going to be successful. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. And I'll use accounting as an example, but you look at these different firms, and we all are always looking at what these bigger firms are doing and how they structure their teams and what their workflow looks like. Everyone does it differently.
They're all different. All the big guys are different.
Yeah. And it's the same thing for trade-based businesses. Like it's all done different from an internal perspective, how they get their work. And there's so many different ways to skin the cat. So don't think that your way of thinking is like the only way. You want to have an open mind and see what other people are doing.
100%. And it works not just in operations, whether it's from sales to leads to growth, what works on, someone's SEO might be cranking and you might be doing the exact same job, exact same industry, same area. Your SEO doesn't work. Guess what? Your Google ads work in that scenario.
Yeah.
Your leads might come from just a different source. Yep. Even though it looks like a mirror image, it's not.
Yeah.
There's obviously changes that are happening in the background, and just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a very big learning experience, to be honest. Been a few sleepless nights, but it's, well, maybe more than a few, but it's, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's fun. It's fun sometimes. It's fun when you look back, when you're in the thick of the fire.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like that is the fun of it.
It's interesting, right? Because rewind whenever we started at Grayspace, and like you think of the problems that we had now, back then and then now, mate.
I wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah, if you teleported us from back then to now, our brains would explode. They would.
Yeah, they would.
I probably would have jumped off the balcony.
Yeah, but you know what? Like all the problems we faced then, they've built those calluses for us to be able to handle it now.
Yeah,
like it's part of it. Like you start building a thicker skin. Your risk tolerance changes. Your sensitivity to call it $500 investments here and there is like whatever. Like sometimes you lose $500 on client X, you make a mistake, so you got to pay for something to get rectified. It might cost $400 or $500. It is what it is. You sort of you don't even blink.
Yeah,
like
But you have to, because I've seen so many people where they get caught up on those little things. It's like, okay, cool. There's an issue. What can we do? We can do everything in our power to fix it. And we always do. What's next? And then you go on with your day.
Here's what it is. I think, who's that lady? I like her content. Cody Sanchez.
I don't know.
She does all like the business content and stuff like that as well, American.
Yeah.
And she said the number one thing she learned from billionaires was their ability to move quick. So problems got solved quick. They didn't think about it 10 minutes later. It was see the problem, identify it, get upset for it, recover, move on to the next thing.
100%.
Like a goldfish, just move on to the next thing constantly.
If you got to have that hard chat with someone, whether it's a staff member or a customer, whoever it is, just do it, get it done with, deal with it. On. Don't put it on the back burner because it just eats you alive inside as well.
Well, you got to think about it like this from a resource, like, speaking about resource planning, you've already made the mistake. It's going to cost you X.
Yep.
You're going to dwell on it for another hour. Might cost you X. 2 hours might cost you X. Like the longer it takes to fix, the problem compounds.
Yeah.
Even though it's in your head, well, what's happened now is the owner or the director's head is now out of the game.
Yep.
It's focusing on something that's already happened. It is what it is.
Yep.
Alternatively, you could be thinking about, well, how do I make it back now? What can I do different? How do I fix the problem so it doesn't cost me that money again? Like the mentality needs to shift from, oh my God, it's costing me $500 to, all right, sick, problem. Let's identify it. Let's fix it so it doesn't happen again. It's not going to cost me $500 ever again.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's such a good way of thinking about issues and problems. And even those investments that we were speaking about, investments in the business. Yeah, you don't want to just spend money because you need to fix this and fix that and just throw money at it. You need to do exactly what you said, cost it out, make sure you can afford it and then go for it. Because we always did that. And I think that's such an important thing to do, especially when you're scaling your business. I just think the hardest thing is just people. Getting really good people in and making sure they're happy and that way they can deliver a really good service.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like beyond sort of focusing on you, how do I word this? Don't find another you is probably what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Find someone whose skill set is slightly different to yours that is good at other things because all of a sudden you're going to grow different skill sets within your business and they're going to excel in their way.
Yeah. You
can't expect employees to be you, act like you, care about the business like you do, and give the same results to the business that you do. Just because you hire someone does not mean you can step away. Like it's, especially in the early days. Like you shouldn't be thinking about stepping away in the first couple of years anyway. It's all about growth.
Yeah, that's right. Growth, service delivery, everything. Growth in every aspect of the business, whether it's sales, marketing, finance, operations. And it's funny because I see some of this like online content about like, profit margin, running business at blah, blah, 50% margin. Like, dude, like you're only focusing on sales and marketing. Like where's the service delivery? It's so important. I mean, if your churn rate is like 50% and 50% of your customers are leaving or clients are leaving, like what are you even doing it for?
You haven't really built anything, right?
Yeah, there's no value.
Because businesses have value. Traditionally real estate is where you sort of see your equity and this and that. Well, there's a massive value in building a business.
Yeah.
From the initial low investments that you can put into it, spend heaps of time building it up, make money while you're sort of building it up as well.
Sure.
You sort of can actually build something really, really good if you do it correctly from the get-go. Like if you're the key person and, you're slightly egotistical and everything has to be surrounding you and the resources you build in is just to build you up, well, guess what? You're not building anything that's sellable.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you've got a job, but beyond that, you don't really have something that you can sell.
Yeah.
That's right. And I guess one of the key reasons why we didn't put our last names in the front door.
Yeah.
We didn't want something that was just going to be based around two people or us.
That's right.
We always said we want to bring everyone up.
Yeah.
All our people that come through to essentially buy in and vibe and also reap the rewards.
Yeah, for sure. So do you want to buy me out then and I'll just leave?
I was hoping you were going to do that after this conversation.
I was going to go work with Simon and cook some nuts or Daniel and go do some plumbing work.
Yeah, I don't even have a backup plan.
Oh, good stuff. But it's true. Otherwise, you just have a job and all the added stress of owning a business.
Well, how do you go on a holiday if it's just you?
Yeah.
If all your systems and processes are simply there to build up your ego and to say how great you are and how valuable your time is, how do you go on a holiday? How do you take time off? How do you do anything? And how do you scale that?
Man, I'll use my holiday that I went on recently, right? If it was just me and I didn't have a team and you weren't here, and again, it was Jordan was Grayspace, there's no way I would have enjoyed it.
You should have just jumped onto Greek WeWork and just worked 8 hours a day.
Drink coffees and do nothing all day. Drive a cab.
Yeah.
That's it. Because
hey, don't diss the Greek cabbies. They've got the nicest car on the roads there.
They do, which is very weird. We'll drive Mercedes.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll drive Mercedes and don't work. Work that one out. But it's true. I just think I use now, right? Like at any point in time, there could be 400 jobs on or 500 jobs. If I was dealing with all of that correspondence, there is just no way I could go out and have lunch and do sightseeing. My phone would have been below. Well, probably not because of the time difference, but the amount of missed calls and emails, it just wouldn't have been an enjoyable experience. And I look back to when I went to Thailand, and again, it was only for a week, but it was like phone's always ringing. There was nowhere near as many clients, but again, phone was always ringing. Emails were always flying through. And there was no one to we had people to do the actual work, but now we've got our management structure in place with the senior manager, there's a senior accountant, then there's 4 accountants in each team, each pod. It's the work, it hums somewhat. We're working on it, getting it well oiled, but it would just be so hard to scale a business if it's just you, especially a service-based business, to really highlight a service-based business.
I wouldn't know how to do it, to be very honest with you.
I don't think you could. It'd be a mess. You couldn't. How?
You cap. I mean, we see that in the industry, especially with accountants, right?
Yeah, you do.
You see there's a very clear line.
Yeah.
You cannot go over X amount because it cannot be done.
Yeah. There's not enough hours. At the end of the day, it's hours, it's output, it's widgets. Our widgets are BASs and tax returns.
Correct. Like you can see it's very, very clear. Like all the research we've done, everyone we've spoken to, most people are capped at the exact same amount.
Yeah. It's like a standard.
Yeah. There might be a 10 to 20% difference here and there, depending on whatnot, but it's a very clear line.
Yeah, it's so true.
And if someone exceeds that, you can actually go, hey, you know what? These guys have done something pretty cool.
Yeah. And it goes back to why we have businesses and what's the whole point of everything. It's to try and build wealth outside of the business, obviously build wealth in the business and be able to get your time back, whether that's if you want to go on holidays, you want to spend as much time with your family as possible, whatever that may be. In order to do that stuff, you have to build a business and not a job. Because if you build the job and you want to go away with the family or go on a holiday for 4 weeks, it's just not going to work. It's just going to blow up.
Yep.
So it's just so important to identify that early and identify what you want out of your business. So that way, as you're growing it, you can implement the systems and implement the processes and get the right people in to help you build that enterprise value, that value in the business.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. What else has been happening?
Well, we've got 800 BASs a quarter rolling through. What else am I doing?
That's a good point. All right. We should wrap this up so you can go do BASs. Good stuff. If anyone wants to join our free community, we'll have a link in the show notes. We've got some content in there and we even do a monthly live call so you can ask us all of your questions. And if you want us to also do your accounting work, there will be a link in the show notes to book a strategy session with either myself or Dan. And you can give us some feedback on our sales process, our onboarding process.
I reckon it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
Someone actually asked me, so you're actually an accountant? I was like, yeah, I'm the accountant.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Getting good at this.
Yeah, right. Why did they say that?
I have no idea.
Well, if you're listening and that was you in that strategy call, reach out and let us know why you thought Dan wasn't an accountant.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they looked at you.
Maybe thought I was a Calvin Klein model.
This is an audio podcast. So if you haven't seen what Daniel looks like,
definitely not a Calvin Klein model.
Google him. Daniel dropped the E. But that's a story for a different time.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, mate.